Good morning, sir.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, ma'am.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to all of. Good morning.
How are you, Simranjit?
I am fine, sir. I hope you all are healthy and fine.
Yeah. So all well? Your family?
Yes, sir. Everything is fine, sir.
Good, good, good. You belong to a village in Punjab.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, I live in a district, sir.
What is the name of the district?
In Mansa, sir.
Mansa is a district.
Yes, sir.
It's a new district, no? It's not the.
No, sir. It was formed in 1992, sir.
From which district it was for?
Earlier, it was included in Bathinda district, sir.
Bathinda.
Now it is the southernmost district in Punjab, sir.
And you are working with HPCL.
Yes, sir.
For how long you have been there?
Sir, I joined the corporation 2015, sir, and now it would be 6 years in July.
And you are based in Chandigarh.
Sir, earlier I was based in Chandigarh, but now I am posted in Hoshangabad near Bhopal.
Near Bhopal. So tell us in brief about your job and HPCL.
Sir, I'll start with the. Yes, sir. Sir, initially I was handling technical services when I was posted in Chandigarh. Under that, my job was to develop new lubricants and specially focused for the tractor industry. Now I have been transferred in the sales profile, and now I look after the retail outlets, that is the petrol pumps of 3 districts in Madhya Pradesh, that is Harda, Hoshangabad, and Betul. My main responsibility there is network development for Hindustan Petroleum, that is bringing in new retail outlets and maintaining the existing outlets so that we can get the maximum sale out of them.
Yeah, what are the plans of HPCL for the refineries in future?
Sir, right now, our refineries, we are unable to meet the demand with our current refineries, sir. And we are HPCL has planned to double its refining capacity in Mumbai as well as Vizag refinery.
Not in Rajasthan? I was asking actually, not in Rajasthan? Not
Yes,
aware
sir.
of the Rajasthan refinery?
Yes, sir. Sir, the refinery is about to come up, but it is in the initial stages, sir.
Yeah. What are the
procurement.
what is the stake of HPCL in that refinery?
Sir, I'm not fully aware of it, sir.
But I mean, you know actually the huge investments are going to be there in Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me, you must be aware of this farmers movement. Since you
Yes,
moved to
sir.
Punjab, it basically actually started from that area.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us actually why actually this kind of movement, such a strong movement, started from Punjab and it is going on? Tell us the reasons.
Sir, according to my analysis, sir, I think the main issue is that these steps were taken without much deliberation, sir. That is what the farmers feel.
Your father is farmer.
Yes, sir.
So tell us actually, you have the first-hand experience
Yes, sir.
about the condition of farmers and what problems they face and what are their apprehensions about the laws passed by the government. Yeah.
Sir, one of the main apprehension is that the farmers feel that they would not get the MSP. That is the main apprehension. Because, sir, right now all the procurement in Punjab is done on MSP, while we have observed that in many states, most of the crops are not procured on MSP. So they feel that after implementation of these laws, the MSP they would not get the MSP for their crops.
Your father must be actually in a village. How much land actually is owned by your family?
So 15 acres, sir.
And which village?
Sir, it is in Junir, sir.
Go there frequently?
Pardon,
Go
sir?
there frequently? Do you visit your village frequently?
Sir, now not so much, sir. In childhood, I used to visit, but
Are
now
you
because
aware about the farmers' economic condition in your village?
yes, sir.
How many of them are doing well? How many of them are in debt? I mean, on the basis of your experience, if you are closely associated with
Yes,
that,
sir. Sir, on sir, uh, if we do a analysis, sir, if a farmer owns more than 5 acres of land, sir, then
You
he does
you
pretty
tell
good,
us
sir.
on the basis of your experience in your village. If you
Yes,
know,
sir.
otherwise it's okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, in our village,
How many
I
farmers are
can,
there in your village? How many farmers are there?
sir, there would be approximately 30 families,
30
30,
farmers.
30 farming households.
And how
And,
many of them are doing well economically?
sir, not more than 10 or 12, sir.
So majority of them are not doing well.
Yes, sir.
What are the reasons?
So the reason is, sir, the lack of community holding of the land, sir. Because even if a farmer owns 2 acres of land, still he owns every agricultural
Have you
machinery.
have you read all the three laws passed by the parliament?
Sir, I have not in complete detail, sir, but I know the gist of them, sir.
You are supposed to know because you are. I mean, you have mentioned your father is farmer, and
Yes, sir.
this issue is actually very important. Harishji,
Yes, Simran.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me, in this issue, farmers' issue, why it looks like that it's a Punjab's problem, not the farmers of India are concerned with this. It is projected as a problem of farmers of Punjab and not the rest of the country.
Sir, as you have already mentioned, sir, it is more of a projection, sir, because we have seen movements all over India, but still more active participation is from Punjab, sir. Sir, I think the reason behind this is that the farmers in Punjab are still influential. Like I'm currently working in Madhya Pradesh, sir. The farmers there do not have the ways and means to reach Delhi itself. And the farmers in Punjab, sir, because ever since the Green Revolution, the farmers of northern states had benefited from it. So they still want that they still want it to continue.
But why the farmers in rest of the country are not as much dependent on minimal price MR
On MSP, sir.
MSP?
Sir,
You implied that it is because of that factor this has become a major issue. Why it's different in other states?
sir, the procurement in other states not on MSP, sir. I can share a practical example with you. The rice mills in Punjab, sir, they whenever they have a shortage of rice in their mills, they procure the rice from these states, from eastern UP, from Bihar, and they sell it to the government, sir. Still, they have a great margin in it itself, sir.
So why it is not the issue with the rest of the farmers?
Sir, sir, because MSP, there is not a law that they are bound to, the government is bound to pay the MSP, sir.
Okay.
So and through this agitation also that the farmers wish that the MSP should be converted into a law, and it should be enforceable throughout the country, sir. Although it is not a practical approach for the solution for all the issues that we have.
So are you with Punjab government or you with central government on this
Uh,
issue?
Sir, I'm sorry, I can't take sides in this, sir, because the farmers are not right in every stand there, in everything they say, sir. Because right now, sir, the farmers should have ended their protest, seeing all the pandemic issues, but still they are sitting there, sir. They're posing a risk to the whole community.
So you think there is a political element in the movement?
Yes, sir, there is, sir.
Okay. Now, the agriculture, what fraction of our GDP is from agriculture now?
Sir, I'm not. Uh, I'm not in touch with the current figures right now, sir, but I think it is 14%.
14%. And what would be a good ideal? Is that 14% more or less? What should be a good contribution from agriculture?
So the contribution from agriculture is, I think, as a percentage of the whole economy is okay, but the employment that it generates, that is too high, sir. More than 50% of our population is dependent on agriculture right now. I think that needs to be changed, sir.
Okay. And what do you think about Punjab situation? What are the major issues that the Punjab government must be facing now? Forget about agriculture, this farmers' agitation, but other than that, what are the issues with Punjab government?
So the major issue that I think of is so the drug problem
Drug problem.
and the underground water table that is going down. And regarding health also, so the issue of cancer is in huge proportions in some areas of Punjab. And the border terrorism and the drug trafficking in the border areas, these are the problems, I think.
And the drug issue is all throughout the state, or from the area that you come from, Mansa?
Sir, it is more concentrated in some districts, sir, not the whole Punjab. Like in southern districts and in the border areas. In our district also, sir, the issue is in huge proportions.
And the reason for high incidence of cancer?
So it is basically due to high inputs of pesticides, insecticides in the crops.
Okay, so it's coming from agriculture,
Yes, sir.
use of pesticides, etc.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I noticed that you are a regular blood donor and also organizers of blood camp.
Yes, sir.
How that situation has been affected with pandemic?
So right now, like, sir, I'll share why I had started this blood donation camp, sir. Actually, my grandfather had expired on 4th of Feb, sir. So every 4th of Feb, we organize a blood donation camp in our village.
For how many years now?
Sir, approximately 7 years, sir.
7 years, okay.
So in these times, sir, we approached the local administration, sir, that we needed to organize, but the doctors were not available in that. Moreover, nobody, the people that were frequent donors in our camps, they were not coming due to the fear of this COVID situation. And sir, this has affected a lot, sir. And this year, moreover, we were not able to organize the camp this year.
No, but other than that, is the demand more or less, and supply is more or less compared to the normal times?
So the demand for the blood is has not seen major change, but the demand for plasma and immunoglobulin has increased, sir.
And now, what act or what law controls the activity in this area, blood and blood products? Regulated by which law?
So I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it, sir.
Is there a regulation in this?
Sir, there would be a regulation, I'm sure of it, sir, but I'm not sure which.
Okay, fine. And finally, you were selected in a short service commission, Navy.
Yes, sir.
Why did you give up? Why you didn't take up?
Sir, actually, there was a lag of 3 months between my selection and the final letter that came. And in the meantime, I was selected in Hindustan Petroleum, sir. So I had joined Hindustan Petroleum in the meantime. And there was a bond of 5 lakh rupees, sir, in HPCL. There was another reason for not choosing, sir, because HPCL was a better career opportunity because it was short service commission in Navy, sir. That was the only reason.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Raghu sir.
Okay, Avdesh ji.
Sir, I'm not able to hear your voice.
Simrandeep,
Yes,
so as I see that, you have chosen revenue service as one of your optional, after IPS, you have chosen both the revenue services.
Yes, sir.
And I have seen that, you know that when the lockdown was implemented in last year in March, there was a acute shortfall of revenue, and the revenue reduced by almost 40% revenue was foregone. Now, after that, the government was, many governments were not able to pay the salaries and all that we had in the acute situation. And thereafter, the lockdown was gradually relaxed. And you know that in the month of March, we have been able to get the highest ever revenue, and we got more than, I think, 1.15 crore or like that. So 1.15 lakh crores. And so as a result, we have got more revenue. But perhaps that is the reason that why, the coronavirus cases have multiplied, because the activities were, basically came to the normal. So the problem is now there is a tremendous pressure on the government to again go for lockdown. But if we go for lockdown, then the problem is that the productivity suffers, employment suffers, revenue suffers. Now, what do you think the government should do? I mean, how do you suggest that we balance the interest of the society, protecting the life, and also by giving them employment and not sacrificing the revenue? What in your opinion could be the way out?
Sir, I think if we take today's scenario, sir, lockdowns in not like the one that was imposed last year, but a restricted lockdowns that we nowadays called Corona curfew, that has already been imposed most of the areas, sir. And the economic activity has been affected, sir. But I think that the best way out is not to implement a complete lockdown and restrict all the economic activities, sir, because that is also more important. And I think the we should work upon the lessons that we have learned from the past years, so like uh, the issue with the migrants and also. So the economic activity should continue, but the major areas where the hotspots are occurring and all, strict implementation of COVID protocol should be implemented in those areas only.
One of the things which we have noticed that there are certain companies, certain factories which cannot be closed, like the companies which are making the manufacturing the food item, or our day-to-day items. So these factories has to work. I mean, most of the factories, whether it's electricity plant or anything, they have to work.
Yes, sir.
And we can't close them down. And so today, if we are asking them to work on those, we are risking their life. We are risking their life. So the government should have actually. Don't you think that the government should have given them the vaccination, considering them as the front line workers, like the medical staff and all that, rather than only treating the medical staff or police staff like that, because without them also the country cannot work, and they have to work, and they are also risking their life. So don't you think they should be given a priority as far as the vaccination is concerned?
Sir, I think in an ideal situation, yes, sir, because they are also an essential component of our economy, sir. But the policy of the government is that first of all, the people that are at the forefronts in this war against COVID, like the doctors and all other essential services that are involved in this, those should be vaccinated in first, sir. Because right now the vaccine production and the supply chain is not equipped to that level that all these people can be vaccinated, sir. But as time goes by, sir, all the like now even 18 to 45 age group can also register for the vaccination. So I think that the government is right in its policy of in a phased vaccination, so that we go initially to those people which are most vulnerable, like the medical staff and the sanitation workers and all. And after that, we can move on to other sectors, to other sections of the population.
You must have heard that some of the district magistrates have been able to contain the fatalities and ensure the supply of oxygen in certain districts of India. So if you are the district magistrate of a particular district, how will you ensure that the fatality is low, the infection is low. So what steps do you think as a district collector you can take, which will ensure that the people suffer least in this COVID-19 pandemic?
Sir, first of all, I'll try to plan in advance, sir, because I have recently observed that one of my districts that I'm handling, that is Betul, it is bordering the Maharashtra, it is on Maharashtra border, sir. So I had seen practically that in the whole of MP, Betul was the first district that witnessed a huge rise in the cases, sir. So if I am appointed with this, if I am given the responsibility, I would analyze the trends and all in the bordering states and the bordering districts, and then accordingly, I would advise the hospitals in my area to make the suitable arrangements and the supply chain for the oxygen. Also, sir, I would write to the higher administration so that the oxygen supply is not curtailed or affected due to the lockdowns being imposed. And moreover, sir, I'll try that the critical cases and all ambulance services are made available for them without any hiked prices. So these are all the steps that I would take.
Enforcement of the mask rule or sanitizer on the shops and all that also, I think, would be
Yes,
done,
sir.
isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Because that's the primary protection. If the people would have been wearing masks, then perhaps this situation would not have arisen, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That is also responsibility of the district administration.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think Deepika would like to ask.
Yeah, Deepika.
Simran, you have written that you have worked for the underprivileged children. You were involved in teaching the underprivileged children.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How was your experience? I mean, what did you understand? I mean, what did you feel like when you were teaching these kids?
Ma'am, I taught basically mathematics, and mostly the children were from 6th or 7th class. Whichever class we were given, we taught these children, and these children belong to the neighboring areas around our college.
Okay.
So we were focusing, and these were underprivileged children, and they used to go to the school, but the quality teachers were not available in those areas. And when the one thing that I observed there, that they do not have any exposure that what they can do after the 10th class and all. So that by interacting with the college students, they could learn that what all opportunities they have after the 10th class.
Okay. So it created awareness in them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What were their general awareness levels on cleanliness and all? You just taught the subject, or you went beyond the subject to teach several other important issues to them?
Ma'am, regarding cleanliness and all, ma'am, earlier we used to take these classes in the school premises itself. The school premises were situated within our college. But
Okay.
later, we were not allowed after the school hours to take classes in these areas. Then we had to take these classes in the houses of some. We requested some of the neighbors of the school itself. So there, initially, the cleanliness level was not up to the mark. Like, we observed various deficiencies, and after that, we also tried by including other NGOs in our college itself, so that these activities can be promoted in these societies also.
Okay. Fine. You were organizing blood donation camps, is what you have written.
Yes, ma'am.
In India, we have we are one of the most populated countries in the world. But irony is, many people die because of lack of availability of blood. Basically, because people do not come forward to give blood. What do you think are the main reasons why people are very skeptical about blood donation in India?
Ma'am, first of all, we all have heard news that a person went for blood donation and he got infected with something or other. He got some disease. So this creates a donation hesitancy among the public. And moreover, ma'am, regarding deficiencies, that the lack of awareness and all among the people, like what is their eligibility whenever they want a blood from the blood camps, from the blood bank and all. And moreover, many hospitals overcharge their patients, and many hospitals also take blood but do not give it to their patient. So these activities are observed in many hospitals in India.
So that is keeping people away from donating blood.
Yes, ma'am. It is one of the factors.
Okay. Now you have organized these blood donation camps in your village. Did people
Yes.
volunteer on their own, or were they? Did you have to?
Ma'am, we have to, ma'am, frankly saying, ma'am, most of the people donating in these camps were our relatives only.
Okay.
But even in our village, if we give a call, people used to come to donate the blood if they were available during that time.
Okay. You're working with HPCL. Over the last few years, there has been a rise in fuel prices.
Yes, ma'am.
The rise is very small amount, but if you look at the overall price, it has raised. What
Yes,
are the
ma'am.
main reasons for this rise?
Ma'am, basically, the crude prices have gone up in the recent years, and the prices have been price revision has been changed. Earlier, it was 15 for a fortnight. Now these revisions happen every day whenever there is a change in the crude oil prices. So the recent increase is due to the rise in crude oil prices, ma'am. And moreover, some states have also increased their taxes on the fuels. That has also increased the prices of these oils.
Okay. Now, last question. You have been working for 5 years, sixth year of your working.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think? How will you use your experience, whatever experience you've gathered in these 6 years? If tomorrow you become a district collector, how will it help you?
Ma'am, I have seen the exploitation that many segments of our population undergo. Because when I was involved in development of lubricants for tractor industry itself, I have seen that the farmers shell out twice the amount of money for the lubricants that they have to pay. That is the same that we as if we own a car, whenever we go for servicing, we pay double or triple the amount of the oil cost. During my tenure in HPCL, also I had taken many initiatives regarding this. Like we participated with the State Transportation Corporation, and the Gulf Oil had a monopoly in lubricants with them, and they used to charge double the prices. So annual 50 crore, more than 50 crore was saved when HPCL introduced itself in this market. So these all happens due to spreading awareness among
Netaji,
all
one
these
minute,
customers.
1 minute. I would like to intervene. There was a news item that even HPCL is charging double. You see, fuel station owners are buying at 100 rupees and selling the same, lubricant at 50%, a discounted value. You must have seen in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
See, your lubricants are priced in such a manner that your same dealers are selling at 50% and making huge losses. So
Yes,
how
sir.
you can blame others? I mean, the HPCL, IOCL, you are also doing the same.
Sir, the dealers actually, HPCL has two channels of lubricant distribution in the market, sir.
I'm
One
talking
is
about
through,
the lubricant sold at a fuel station, at a outlet.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They buy, and it represented by the petroleum associations. They are buying at 100 rupees, and same day they are selling it in the market at 50 rupees because it is overcharged. It is not competitive in the market.
Sir, the reason behind that is, sir, because HPCL itself has a two channels of product distribution. One is through the dealers, sir, for fuel station, and another one is basically only the lube distributors. Since the lube distributors procure the product in bulk, sir, their prices are automatically less as compared to the fuel station. So that's why their prices are higher, sir.
Now,
Because
see, the issue is not that. The issue is that when you are a fuel station owner is making losses, you would like to cover it up. He will either give less quantity or adulterate it. I mean, from where he will bring the money? See, the
sir,
issue is
yes, sir.
that when actually we are going for a transparent and a system where the consumer gets a quantity and quality. I mean, you see, we are encouraging it. We are encouraging the malpractices. Indirectly, it is encouragement because you know it well that they are selling it at 50%. So from where they will bring the money? They will bring the money from the business itself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Please continue. Sorry. Yeah.
So, no problem, sir. I just wanted to know how you're going to use this experience, your 6 years experience in your work tomorrow if you become a civil servant. Very crisply, please let me know.
Ma'am, the experience in this organization is, well, I feel that it was as I was working in a private organization, we are given strict goals and targets to meet, and regular follow-up is done in every week and as well as every month. So I would like to implement this in the administration also,
Okay,
because
so
that would help in.
time-bound manner.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Mathurji?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Simrandeep, you finished an MBA degree in 2020. Now,
Yes,
this was a regular MBA degree, or did you do it through distance learning?
it's a regular MBA degree, sir.
So you also did an MBA while working in the company. How was that possible?
Sir, I took a study leave for 2 years, sir. And
Okay.
during this leave was basically for MBA only.
And what made you choose human resource management as your specialization in the MBA program?
Sir, I took, sir, human resource management as well as marketing, sir. And the main reason was that, sir, it would help me in better participation in the market, because after 3 years in service, sir, most of us are given sales profile only. So marketing as well as human resource management would help me better in this field.
Was your training at HPCL not enough to prepare you for the marketing roles at HPCL?
Sir, it is, sir, but I wanted a professional degree also, sir, so that I can have a more wider experience in this field.
Are you aware of somebody called Philip Kotler?
No, sir, I'm not sure.
Okay.
How come you can say, Mandeep, how you can say you don't know Kotler?
Philip Kotler is the father of marketing.
You can't say like this.
Anyways, are you aware of something called Esprit des Corps?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. Can you tell me the primary difference between the Fayal and the Taylor School of Management?
Sir, I've read about it, but I've not brushed up all these concepts, sir.
Okay, no problem. Now, you've been working in the petroleum industry for some time, and we grade the quality of petrol based on octane, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is 91 octane petrol?
Sir, I'm not able to understand your question, sir.
So there's something called a 91 octane petrol, there's something called a 98 octane petrol, there's something called a 100 octane petrol. What's the basic difference?
Sir, the octane rating changes the knocking timing and knocking period of the fuel, sir.
Okay. And the most qualitative is the 100 octane petrol, correct?
Yes, sir.
What is it used for?
Sir, I'm not aware of it, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. My final question to you is, you have taken Punjabi literature as your optional subject. Who is your most favorite literature personality in the Punjabi language, and why?
Sir, I would say it is Amrita Pritam.
And what about the person do you appreciate the most?
I would stay with Amrita Pritam.
Like, why do you like the person so much?
Sir, because she was the only writer who stood apart in those times, and sir, while all other people in this field, they considered Guru Nanak as their as the the light of Punjab, but she shifted the focus completely and took Heer Waris as the light of Punjab.
Okay. My last question to you, Simrandeep, is, are MBA degrees postgraduate degrees in India?
Yes, sir.
Are MBA degrees postgraduate degrees in India?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I think basically it was fine until we came to Atish, and where he had to admit many questions that he doesn't know, and that's supposed to be his strength, one of the strengths. So it requires some broadening of his fundamentals, but his posture, his delivery, etc., are okay, and basically he was fine.
But slightly low actually in energy.
Yeah, low energy
Son of the
and
candidate yesterday, no?
yes,
The slightly.
The medical candidate was working
Yeah,
12
yeah.
hours in the COVID hospital.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
हाँ जी मैम आप बताइए
मुझे ठीक लगा sir, but the only thing I felt was there were a few questions where he was not very precise. For example, I asked him how you're going to use your experience tomorrow when you become a civil servant. He could have actually answered it in one or two sentences. He unnecessarily gave so much of information that you had to put a question again. So if he can correct those things and he can be precise about opinionated questions, it would be good, is what I felt.
हेलो
Yes.
हाँ व्हाट बताइए आपका फीडबैक
In my opinion, basically, I mean, he has some knowledge about the things, but by and large, as far as the problem solving attitude is concerned, he doesn't have much of a clue. For example, when we talked about the lockdown, or we talked about how to solve the problem, perhaps he's not focusing attention as to how to actually solve the problem. Or nowadays we are having a case study which is widely circulated as one of the districts in Maharashtra, where a district collector has been able to contain COVID.
नंदुरबार
And, huh?
नंदुरबार
Yeah. So he should actually focus on those areas and where we have lacked and why these cases are going up, how we can cut down these cases, plus the revenue aspect also. Because last month, we have seen the highest revenue growth as far as the GST is concerned. But then that perhaps may be the precursor of, so much of loss of life also. So how to balance the two, I think that is something which I think he should look into that, because this is this may be, so he doesn't actually go deeper into the issue and doesn't visualize himself as an officer who is going to solve the problems. So that I think he should be given brief.
Sir, I would like to add, basically what I feel is factual part he's fine. But when it comes to opinion, when it comes to giving, problem solving, he really has
Yeah.
to. Analysis is lacking, is what I also feel.
माथुर जी
Right, sir. So obviously, fundamental conceptual questions are a little bit of a problem. I wanted to sort of also follow up, ask him how are crude prices determined. I'm very sure he would not be able to answer that question. Matlab, in continuation with what the board was saying. So there are basically three problems here, sir. First, from what I could understand is, first, when we ask him opinion-based questions, he wants to play it safe, even when the board is asking for an opinion and is not going to dock him down for it. Harish sir very politely asked him, what side are you on when it comes to the farmers' protest? He could have just said, I stand by it, or I think they have a point. He thought that it's going to be against him if he just, say, "Aisa kuch nahi, the board is just asking you for it." I think he is shying from opinions. Two, sir, if he does not know, he should say he does not know. MBAs are not postgraduate degrees. The only MBAs which are postgraduate degrees are the ones that IIMs give you, because IIMs were given institution of national importance status a few years ago. Otherwise, all other MBAs are actually officially called postgraduate diplomas in management.
No,
So
I
when you
think
ask,
Atish, I just want to intervene.
sir,
In my opinion, in fact, before this, I mean, these IIMs, in fact, IIM are generally, they are not the universities. I think this is one of the
yes,
controversy. I think I
yes, sir,
just
they're
wanted to
not.
tell
They're
you.
not. They're
And they are not universities, and therefore, when IIM Indore started this giving 5-year integrated course, the question was raised that they, because they cannot give degree, how can they give a post-graduation degree.
Right, sir.
So in my opinion, what IIMs gives actually, IIMs now, I mean, when they will give the degree, because they don't have the status of deemed university also, like the,
Sir, that is why,
so
sir,
they can't give the MBA degree. Unlike that, for example, an university. Suppose you take an university which is giving MBA like Lucknow University, or let us say an university which has been given a deemed university status, they can give MBA degree, but not the IIM. I think IIM has been recently authorized, they have been given the deemed university status they did not have earlier.
right, sir.
So in my opinion, if the university is giving a degree now, that degree is very much an MBA master's degree. But non-universities who are not the deemed universities, neither the universities, their degrees are like, for example, XLRI. Now, XLRI is not a deemed university, and therefore their degree will not be equal to the master's degree. But if
Right.
suppose, let us say, an MBA institute gives, then that will be not with PGDM, but it will be an MBA. I mean, that's my understanding. I thought I will just.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm not understood.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. So basically, like for example, IIT, IIMs, AIMS, IISc. So
IIT and IIM are different. That is the
sir,
point
sir,
I wanted to make.
right, sir,
IIMs are not deemed universities.
right, sir.
IITs are universities created by the Act of
Right,
Parliament, not
So-
like an IIM.
Yes, sir. The reason the reason IIMs were allowed to now give MBAs, despite not being universities, is because IIMs were also included as institutions of national importance. So an exception was made for them. So when I asked him that are all MBA degrees postgraduate degrees, sir, all MBA degrees are not. But yes, you're right. If a university is giving an MBA degree, it is definitely a master's. But just because your degree, just because everybody says it's an MBA degree, sometimes it's actually a PGDM also. But yes, sir, absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir. That is the second point. The third issue is, sir, whenever we ask him a question on something which is about his personality. For example, when ma'am asked her, what did you learn from here, we were expecting a more refined answer, that he's accustomed to working, so he's accustomed to a work culture, he can bring the values of the work culture, he can bring the punctuality and the ethos and the ecosystem of the work culture, and he'll be a more productive civil servant, as opposed to somebody who's just out of college. So that kind of a nuance or a maturity in his answer was missing. But apart from that, I think, sir, average, I would say, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Simrandeep, tell me, what is your assessment of your interview?
Sir, I have not. Basically, I was lacking in my MBA section mostly,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I need to work on many other issues also, sir.
Like,
And this was my first mock interview, sir, and it would be a good learning experience.
yeah, now we have actually few observations. You can note it down, where
Okay, sir.
you can improve, or you can add into actually your syllabus. Your energy level has to be, like, more, to look actually more energetic,
Okay, sir.
and eye to eye contact, and you should be communicate directly in the eyes of the panelist.
Okay, sir.
Second thing, two questions you can expect from the panel, even in the UPSC. One will be related to your job, because you are working in a very important PSU, and second related to farmers.
Okay, sir.
And I don't know actually why you are not giving frank opinion when you are asked. You see, many of the people who were very, very, like, they were not politically aligned, were giving actually during this farmers agitation, they were giving frank opinion. You were very, very careful. So there is no need to be politically correct. When your
Okay.
father is farmer, your family is a farmer's family, you are aware of the problems your villagers are facing. You yourself are telling that only 1/3 of them are doing reasonably well, others are not. Then there is an issue, there is a problem. If they are agitating, there is issue. So you should have actually expressed yourself very, very openly. So there is no
Okay,
need
sir.
to be scared, because when you are very sure, if you are not sure, then it is okay. Then you have to say, like, I'm not aware, or I have not made up my mind on this particular issue. So,
Okay, sir.
yeah, that is number one. When I specifically asked about the projects of in HPCL, your annual report says every company's annual report actually gives the details of the future projects, the total value which will be invested in the you see in that particular company. So you just read about that, and that will give you a better idea. About your MBA degree, it was not a like issue of your knowledge, but it was issue about now actually in the last, nobody is going to ask in such a details, but somehow the question was asked about the Kotler. Now you see an MBA candidate cannot say that he or she is not aware about Kotler. I mean, he didn't ask about the entire theory, the entire principles of marketing. He asked just name actually. You are not only supposed to know about Kotler, but about his theory also. So just prepare on that also. And your attitude has to be, because you are working for the last 5 years. Many of your dealers, distributors must have come to you with problems they are facing. Now you must learn actually how you solve them, how you guide them, how you motivate them. And that would be helping you as a district magistrate also. There also, what is your role? Your role will be grievances redressal. And grievances redressal is important even in your present job also. So our advice will be that focus on actually how you can solve the problem. Take few seconds before you form your opinion, and very categorically you say that this is how actually I will be helping. This is how I will function. And focus
Okay,
actually on grievances redressal, because that is the basic job, one of the basic job of the civil servants. How you redress the grievances. Then you answered most of the questions. I mean, it was like okay, but when it comes to analyzing the issue, the questions the panelist is asking, there you have to improve a bit. So focus actually on analyzing the issue. Why that question is asked? First, actually, you should see the reason actually why this panelist is asking this question. And keeping that thing in mind, then you have to form your answer. Take few seconds. There is no issue. Go to a village. When you visited your last village, your last visit to village?
So approximately 2.5 months back, sir.
Go there, ask your father what problems you are facing. he will tell you what are the problems in the village. Then he will tell you actually what, and that will give you such a confidence, because your father will be telling you that what farmers are facing. So this is our advice from your side. Any question you want to ask?
Sir, I was confused in the farming question only, sir. Like, should I take sides or
No,
not?
it is not taking sides actually. Why? See, it is not a debate. You are just asking for your opinion, a frank opinion based on facts.
Okay, sir.
And give your arguments, logical arguments.
Pardon,
Why
sir?
you should be afraid of actually giving your because we are asking you to express. You are not giving on your own. When you are
Okay, sir.
asking, then you should give frankly. There's no need to have any fear.
No, I mean, basically, Sivrandeep, you must tell your opinion, your apprehension on the part of the farmer, because Punjab farmers has been on the forefront. And what do you suggest, can be, can be made more acceptable to the farmer? So you can also, go through some of the suggestions as to what changes do you think can be made so that, it become acceptable to all the parties concerned. So that sort of thing you can prepare. I'm not saying they should criticize the central government policy. That should also not be a good idea. But at the same time, you should not always be protecting the government's decision. And you must say that these are the apprehensions, and if suppose these are the things which are taken care, then perhaps the farmers will also be willing to accept. So something like that you have to find a way.
Okay, sir.
Simran, you look very tense. Try to put some smile on your face.
That's very important.
Okay, sir.
And look into the eyes of the panelist, or in this case, look at the camera, so that a little bit of energy, little bit of smile. These things will make a lot of difference.
Okay, sir. This was my first interview, sir. I was on this case.
Sir, I just like to add two very small logistical points, sir. They just, if with the permission of the board,
Yeah.
sir, may I please. Thank you, sir. Sir, Simrandeep, because you wear a turban, you must understand when you go to the interview board, you will have to be wearing a face mask and a face shield. So just practice with that also, because it may get uncomfortable. Two, you may please ask permission from the board in case you would want to remove one out of the two. The board usually permits. Three, you generally speak softly. And sir, because last year also this happened, the board had installed a camera in which you had to speak into. Okay.
Okay.
And a lot of times the candidates were not audible, and it created a lot of confusion in the actual interview room. They are going to also have a microphone, a microphone in the room as well, because you're going to be further distanced away from the board. So in case you're not very clear, just double check that you are heard properly, because you generally speak a little softly. That's
Okay.
I'm so sorry, sir. Those are just the small logistical points you should take into consideration, sir. Thank you, sir.
And you can remain in touch with the faculty on academy, and you have a lot of time to prepare,
Sir.
and then prepare your answers well.
Okay, sir.
How much time you are devoting daily for interview?
Sir, I'm unable to donate more than 1 hour, sir.
Then it is not sufficient. 1 hour is not at all sufficient. 1 hour will take in screening the newspapers and you see the daily news. How you will
Yes.
prepare the topics?
No, sir, I devote more time, sir. Actually, with the job now, sir, the pressure is high, sir, because
Then take leave.
the outlets are open, sir.
Then take leave. You have taken leave actually for your MBA degree.
Yes, sir.
And this is actually this is the most important opportunity in life. So you must take leave,
Okay, sir.
because you have to give your 100%.
Okay,
It is
sir.
not like that. I mean, you see, you can do it by doing your job in 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Very difficult, because the candidates will be competing. They will be attending so many of mock interview rounds, will be seeking lot of advice from professors, and they will be on their toes. You have to compete with them. You have to devote actually sufficient time.
Sure, sir. I do that.
Okay, then, best of luck.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All the very best.
All
the
the
very
Thank you
best.
very much, sir.
Work
Thank you, ma'am.
harder.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
thank you. Thank you, sir.
An academy. Let's crack it.